G'day, Andy from Single Malt. Today I'm going to be tasting the Bunnahabhain from Islay. It's the northernmost distillery on Islay, and they say with Islay, generally the further south you go, the stronger and peatier the whiskies are. This being the northernmost is the lightest and most delicate of the Islay whiskies. It's an old distillery by Islay terms, 1881, and was originally opened by the Islay Distillery Company. It's been producing continually. It's a reasonably large distillery. The majority of its malt goes into black bottle, which is a very, very well known and broadly drunk Scottish whisky in Scotland. It's probably the largest seller in Scotland. I'm quite sure of that fact, actually. Bunnahabhain is a blend of single bourbon barrels and sherry barrels. So you get kind of the ideal mix with some of the bourbon cleaning the whiskey and the sherry adding flavours over the top of anything that's unpleasant, but that's already been removed by the bourbon barrels, so you get a really good mix. The distillery is right down on Jura Sound, which is a beach. It's a rocky, pebbly beach, and being in the North Sea, they get these massive northerly storms that come down and crash waves right over the top of the barrel aging rooms, which are right on the beach. And as a result, within the angel share of the barrel, that small amount of air pocket gets filled with a saline vapor, which lends an iodine-y, seaweedy character to many of the Islay whiskies, which are generally built right down on the water's edge. The thing that makes this unique, other than using a very, very lightly peated barley, is that the water for this whiskey is actually from Magadel Spring, and that water is used to break down the whiskey from its holding alcohol percentage in the barrel to its bottling percentage. Now, a lot of distilleries say they use spring water, but generally it's only used as processed water for cooling. Bunnahabhain actually use this spring water for cooling, but also for breaking it down. So it's very unusual that they can do that, because with HACCP, HACCP, and all these very strict food and beverage laws, the water needs to be of an exceptional quality for it to be used for actually breaking down the spirit. Generally, it's a distilled water which is used for that process. It's as I said, it's quite a light whiskey, so I'm really looking forward to trying this. I do like my malty whiskies, but this one isn't a malt monster by reputation. However, the notes would suggest that there is just a hint, and being an Islay, you would expect just a hint of peat. So, it's a hard fella to get open. It's never a good sign when you can't get into your whiskey. It just means you've had too many. There we go. Okay. Oh, just the tiniest little hint of peat there. So looking at the spirit, you can see it's a nice bronzy colour, indicative of a sherry cask or a sherry butt. But it's also got some golden hue to it, which would suggest both the aging in sherry and American oak barrels, bourbon barrels. It's a very light nose. It's very, I shouldn't say sweet, it's malty, fruity, raisins, maybe some almonds, sort of an almond mealy smell in there as well. It's a beautiful, delicate whiskey on the palate. The smokiness comes through. Touch of the phenolics. Really well balanced. Not overpowering. It's got punch, but it's not overpowering. It's a well balanced whiskey. I guess that's why it's so well loved, but also why it's not not as well known as its big monster brothers of Ardbeg and Lagavulin and Lafroig, because it's actually a good drinking whiskey without being so in your face that you can say, "Oh, I'm so tough and such a big man, I only drink Lagavulin." Well, this is for a slightly more sophisticated palate. It's a little gentler. It's a little more subtle. With all the flavours in there, but a really, really enjoyable dram. Yeah, can see why it's done so well. Just a final note. There's been a little bit of tweaking done to Bunnahabhain recently. This is the pre-tweak edition. So it's the more traditional edition, I guess, rather than the souped up version that's been the marketers have been putting onto the market more recently. So yeah, look, I hope you enjoy this one. If you do come across the tweaked up version, you can make up your own mind about which version you prefer. But this is the old school version of Bunnahabhain, which has made its mark for such a long time. Slàinte mhath.